Good afternoon and welcome to Omnibros Live. I'm one of your co-hosts, Omnidog from Omnidog's Vault. And we're happy to have you here with us on this Sunday where we're talking custom-bound books. We're not actually going to talk about how to build them. That's in the future. Tim Benson agreed to come on in the future. But we're going to talk about our collections of them. We're going to show stuff off to make you jealous and make each other jealous. And what can be done with your favorite runs to make them into giant collectible omnibuses. And with me, as usual, is Gabe Loves 90s Comics. Gabe, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good, Jess. I am very afraid of this episode because it's going to lead me into a terrible, terrible rabbit hole. But that's life.
Gabe has already expressed to me before the show that he has feelings that he hasn't felt before, and that is jealousy of other people's custom-bound books. People have been sending in theirs. We're going to show a lot of Shelfies today of custom-bound books, and Gabe is jealous of them, and that means I probably will be too. And we're joined by last week's guest who actually helped spur this episode showing off his custom-bound books, and that's writer Mike Firth. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, guys. How's your Sunday morning?
So far, so good.
Yeah, it's awesome. I got coffee. That's all I need for a Sunday morning, right? I think the wife is going to make me some eggs. I'm good. Hey, Mike, since you were on last week.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, go ahead. What now?
I was going to say, Mike, since you were on last week, give us an update about your Kickstarter. How's that going so far?
Oh, it's going great. We got a lot of people who found out from me being on the show. We're at 89% funded right now.
Ooh.
So I'm super psyched about it. We actually, today marks 2 weeks left in the Kickstarter. So, it's kind of like getting into, we got some time. There's some stretch goals that I think we're going to try for, some like extras, like sketches and things like that in the back of the book. That'll be our stretch goals. But sitting at 89%. I want to hit 90. There's that like OCD part of me that's like, no, it's got to be a nice, nice even number there. But it's doing great.
There it is.
There we are.
Oh, it's fantastic. Look at that. You're 89%. You're right on the cusp. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
A lot of people wait. A lot of people wait till like the last 2 days or whatever to put in their pledges, and I think you're there. Awesome, man. Congratulations.
I already changed my pledge to the pin plus the book.
Nice.
I was just going to get the book, but I want that pin.
That pin's cool.
That is,
yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, like we were saying, it's $30 for the pin, and you get the book for free.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Hooniverse is asking for the link to the Kickstarter, which is, I'm sure Gabe was right on. He's going to put it in 2 seconds. He was already ready to do it, I bet.
Yep. I'm screen sharing.
Oh, well, that's all right.
So yeah.
We'll put the link to the Kickstarter in the chat and look at that pin. And the book is really good. We read it and I reviewed it last week and I really liked it a lot. The art is fantastic. The writing is fantastic. And the pin is awesome and really affordable. So that's one thing is that you get your book plus extras and they're affordable. It's not like he's asking $800 for this pin and book. It's a really good deal.
Yeah, the book itself is a little over 200 pages, and it's only $20.
Yeah, and it's done too. Like, there's no waiting for us to finish the book. It's all completed. These guys have read it. And all we have to do once we get our funding is kind of, send off the files to the printer and, get that going.
That's awesome. That's what I love about the Kickstarter, Mike. When anybody is I'm done. I just need the money to make the printer press the button to publish it.
Yeah.
So that's the best part. You don't want to be like in a holding pattern or anything like that. So
no, I mean, I want this book in my hands now. Like, that's what we're trying to do.
That is great. And that's what we're trying to get done for you too. I want to see this book happen as well.
Yeah.
And link is in the chat. And for everybody watching, like after this, like not live, it'll be in the description below as well. So there you go. No going back.
And what's that doing there? I just noticed that.
What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?
It's a pop that
Oh, never mind.
that shouldn't have been up with the bombshells. It got misplaced as I was doing some organizing last night. I'm constantly organizing and reorganizing, and it takes 40 times longer than any normal human because I got all these fakakta action figures in front of everything. And so I got to take them down and rearrange, and then I got to put them back up. And they're always falling over. And then at night they come to life, and they're on the ground when I come in here, and it's really annoying.
But that's half the fun. I love taking my books off the shelf.
Yeah, it's true, because then here's the thing that's weird, or it's probably a bad thing, but it's kind of cool. It's like, oh, I didn't know I had that. That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah.
I got 2 copies of this now. Whoops. Whoops. Yeah, that happens all the time. That's what's fun about I'm gonna do that sooner or later. My collection's a freaking disaster, so I can't wait to just go through. And every time I go through and I reorganize my collection, I always do it in a different way. Like it might be like chronological, it might be by writer, it might be by character. We'll see what happens next time I go around with it, but that's always the fun part.
Yeah.
I want to get to Taylor Talks Comics question, but first let's talk about InStockTrades.com, our lovely sponsor. IST, as they are known, is where you can get all your collected editions up to 50% off with loyalty discounts, adding another 2% to that. Tomorrow, we will be giving away the $50 gift card to a lucky viewer, and you get to spend that $50 at InStockTrades.com. $50 or more gets you free shipping in the United States, which is incredible. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
I'm pumped. I didn't know tomorrow was the gift card giveaway.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's pretty much the end of the week. I think October 1st is Thursday, so it's too late, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's too late for, wait. Right. Yeah, today's the 27th, tomorrow's the 28th. Yeah.
Yeah, so that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Wednesday's the 30th. That's the new comic book day.
Right.
Thursday, it's on 30 days in September?
Correct.
Okay, so we're good. And October's the best month of the year, so let's get into it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of my birthday.
Oh.
And Halloween.
Yep.
And Columbus Day. No, that's not correct.
But before we get into custom bound editions, Taylor Talks Comics has a issue. Well, not issue, but he does say he wants to talk real fast about my controversial dumping of root beer on the book User by Devin Grayson yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Jess, we've got to talk about User by Devin Grayson real fast. I saw your video with Kristen. I looked this up assuming there'd be a ton of controversy about it and saw nothing but glowing reviews. That's fine. There could be nothing but glowing reviews. It was back when it was first published in the 2000s. The book Kristen and I read was reprinted by Image. It was originally a Vertigo book. It was like the 10-year anniversary of it. So I think it was done in 2007. I don't see how anybody can, with any conscience, overlook the fact that Daly, the father's best friend, who brings donuts like it's another day at the office, comes in and casually rapes the main protagonist's sister. And this goes on daily. We're even forced to watch it from the driveway in a shadow as the main protagonist and her father are in the driveway, and you can see in the house, in the shadow behind the curtain, it happening. The underage daughter does not want this to be happening. She is not agreeing to it. It's being forced upon her. There's a scene where the older sister says, "What happened to your wrist?" which shows to me that there's abuse going on besides the rape. I don't see a place for rape in a comic at all to ever move a story forward. And it went nowhere. It had no place in the comic. If you wanted to show that the view, nice. If you wanted to show that the protagonist had a bad home life, there are a lot of different ways than having the younger sister raped by the dad's best friend, and the dad so clueless or in agreement with it, he doesn't do anything about it. He knows what's happening. He lets it happen. His friend gets done raping his daughter, and he said, "Hey, you want a beer?" to the rapist. I don't care what those reviews are like. I don't care if it gets high Goodreads scores. I don't care if it won a GLAAD award. I know it got nominated. I don't care. That there's absolutely no reason to show underage child rape in a book at all. It serves no purpose. And I think Devin Grayson ought to be ashamed of herself for writing those scenes in there. They were done for no reason at all. And I don't care what anybody thinks. If somebody likes that book, isolate the scenes of child rape in your mind and see if you still like the book. That's what I have to say. So there you go, Taylor. That's now we can get on to something fun. But Kristen and I were both really pissed off at this comic yesterday. Really pissed.
Yeah,
Fortunately, that doesn't happen too often. I think we're at least in a place these days where that kind of plot device, like using sexual assault as a plot device, has started to, I don't know, come out of fashion. I know, like, a lot of Alan Moore's work, that
Right.
kind of thing happens, and we're like, you know, when it came out in the 80s or 90s, it was people weren't looking at it with that kind of eye. But now, you know, it's 2020, and we know better, I guess, or we try.
Yeah, well, that's from a writer, so that's good to know. Taylor, I don't want to turn. This is supposed to be about custom bound stuff, so I don't want to talk about user anymore. I think you know my feelings on it. She can feel good about it if she wants. Read it yourself, make up your own mind, and then I think we need to move on. Or DM me, whatever you'd want to do. I'm happy to talk to you about it. But as far as this show goes, I've said what I want to say.
Yeah, it's not, there's no way of changing anybody's mind on it. So
yeah.
Speaking of moving on, this is a fantastic idea, and we haven't even started. And I already want to make a goddamn Pit custom bound.
It needs it. I mean, I started working on that this summer. It's hard to get some of the later issues. I have like 1 through 13, but like those last 7 or 8 issues are hard to grab. They're hard to find. The print runs were a little low. Oh no. He has them all right there.
Did he have them custom bound? I know he and I went on a tear and he does have some issues. He and I went on a tear and we're looking for these paperbacks.
Yeah.
There's several different versions of these collected editions, and they all seem hard to find now at this point.
And that's such a important, like, I don't know, maybe important, but like, I don't know anybody who didn't like Max. It was so fun. It was so weird. I mean, I want a big omnibus of that, you know?
Yeah, I haven't read it, and from what I've heard of it, it is completely groundbreaking, and I really want to read it. I think we were going to do a readathon of it, but Invincible actually got in the way, and we're doing Invincible instead.
Nice.
somewhere back here, I know I got like the last 5 issues of Pit, which are really hard to find. I found them when I was working at Torpedo, and I was like, "Thank you. I'll take those, please." Because yeah, they are like same with. I think I'm guessing you were talking about the Max as I came back.
Yeah.
Max, the same way. Like the last handful of those issues are like 30.
Oh, I was talking about the Max. You were saying Pit.
I was talking about Pit when I walked away, and then I came back. I know you were talking about Max because you said
I apologize. I get Pit mixed up with Max all the time.
Okay. Either way, you're right. That Pit deserves a hardcover bound or just a hardcover omnibus in general. So does the Max, and neither that's happened. Max has those 3 like epic trades, complete collection kind of things. But
now,
give me some
Pit about?
hardcover.
I always get these two mixed up. What's Pit about?
Pit is basically was Dale Keown, because Dale Keown at the time was fresh off the Hulk. It's his version of the Hulk from space who befriends a young boy, and they go on crazy smashing evil people adventures.
Yeah, and they're like psychic, like linked or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it was the 90s. Logic was only like a little part of what any book needed.
I loved how you said Pit, and I brought out the Max. I mean, they don't even share any of the same letters or creators. I don't know why I pulled out the Max, but the Pit sounds awesome.
Yeah, and I mean his artwork, it's like at his peak of crazy awesomeness, and so it's I thought it was a really fun book. I haven't read it until the end because those I had kind of like fallen out of reading it by the time it moved over to his Full Bleed Studios, I think was the publisher towards the back half. So the print runs were low, and I wasn't. Oh man,
Is it collected in any form?
Not really. I mean, some of the early stuff I think is, but it's hard to track down. You know.
Oh,
we got my number 1, of course. Yeah, Pit.
Of course.
Whoa, look at that.
Yeah, an art great.
That guy can draw.
Oh, Dale Keown's a monster. And this is like peak Dale Keown.
That's what Mike was saying.
Okay, yeah. And then here's the Max. Oh. Here's the Max.
Yeah, that's what you and I were going to start reading, I think, before COVID hit, and it got kind of lost. But we'll do a readathon of the Max.
Yeah, because we were super excited because you and I both, about the same time, found those books that are really hard to find right now. Like we found them. Oh, sweet! We got all 3 of them. Let's read it.
Yeah, and I mean that's how serious I was. I went out and I got the action figure already, so I'm serious about it because I want to know who this guy is.
Yeah, those guys are cool.
Yeah.
So it came with the action figure, so I got to read Max soon.
Yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to the Max. I'm excited to get to it. It's been a while since I read it. It's all kind of new to me at this point. It's been so long since I read it or watched the MTV show.
Yeah,
but all right.
I have to go get something to drink. So, Mike, why don't we start with Mike and show off some of your stuff that you'd like to show?
Yeah,
I can show off some of my stuff, and then we can go to viewer Shelfies. How does that sound, Gabe?
Awesome. Let's do it. Go get your drink, and me and Michael talk about what he's got going on.
Yeah. I did see somebody in the chat asking about where I got my shelves over there. My stepdad's a carpenter, so he made them for me. They are very sturdy. That was the whole point of getting them, was I kept breaking my shelves. So I grabbed the first custom bind that I ever got made. It was Spawn.
Nice.
Yeah. So when I was first starting out, I wasn't really sure, is this process going to really ruin the books? And I had, I was a teenager when this was coming out, and I was like, I was in that mode of you buy one and you read the shit out of it, and you buy one and you put it away. So these were all of my super worn, read a million times copies of everything. And I was like, if I don't like this process, so you can kind of see how worn the pages are. So I got this one as the first kind of test run, and I was happy with it, obviously, because I kept on doing it. And I, like reading this now has been like very, I don't know, with the COVID situation, I've been returning to all the stuff that I loved as a kid and just like, oh, I need a little like fun time. So that was one I wanted to show off. My favorite bind that I've ever gotten done is of Akira.
Oh, wow.
These are the color editions. These were from now I did this. I have to defend myself for a second because these are actually valuable comics now. And when I got this bound, they weren't valuable comics. A little valuable, but not crazy. Like I was able to pick up the set pretty cheap, and I got them bound. And it's like, it's color, it's gorgeous. This was how I first was reading Akira before Dark Horse did all those amazing black and white reprints.
Yeah, this is the Marvel Epic stuff, right?
Yeah. So it's like I've got 4 of these on the shelf, and I got this done a while ago, but it was like,
Now, is that the one that reads right to left or left to right?
This one reads left to right. They mirrored the pages.
Jess, that's the one you need.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good book. The color ones are hard to find now, but if you can find them, it's a great way to read it. I have, for some good 90s action, Solar.
Mm.
And I like this one. I wanted to show this one off because it's like there are certain books like Pit or Solar that are hard to find now, or not hard to find, but like you can only find the issues. It wasn't reprinted somewhere. Solar is pretty easy to find. Most people are more than happy to sell you their copies.
I love that Valiant run. Everything in the very beginning, every single comic was super interesting.
Yeah, the colors are great. I think they had like some great coloring, not just for the time, but even now, like the coloring job that they did was always great. And so, like it's a bit of fun to go back and reread these. Like I said, I think it's good too because like you can pick the issues up pretty cheap for something like this, and get them bound, and then you have something that this is the only way to really have a collected edition of it at this point.
Yeah, I saw you get the ads in there too.
I keep everything in there. Like I want it to be like the full experience. So like, here's like, this stuff. If there's like letters pages, I want to see those. If there's ads, I want to be taken back to that time.
You can't, well, a lot of times you can't take the ads out because on the other side of the ad is content.
Yeah, like on this one, it's
right
like
there.
You can't take that ad out.
Yeah.
And for me, whenever I can, I do sewn binding, which means you really have to leave the issues as they are.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's kind of part of it. Then I have something like, I love Empowered, but I didn't have the first hardcover. I had the second two, and I was like, the prices for the first hardcover were just like always, it's been out of print for so long. So I took my soft covers and just had them bind it, and I did this graphic cover to match the other ones. So it looks like I have it, but I just made my own. And like that's the thing I do. Like sometimes there's books that I can't get; they're out of print or expensive or whatever. So I'm like, you know what? I'll make my own. And this one, it's nice. I was able to match it so that it sits on my shelf right next to them, and you can't, unless you really know what you're looking for, you don't notice the difference. These are made. So these were made from the originals. They weren't floppies, but they were like more like manga style, where they came out in three volumes, and I just had them bind the 3 volumes into one.
But your Solar and the Spawn, those were the singles, right? The floppies.
Those were the singles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what do you mean by sewn binding is what you always try to go for? Try to explain that to people who might not get it and how that affects your custom binding in the single issues.
For sure. So with when you're doing binding, one of the things you're kind of combating is gutter loss. I mean, when we buy a hardcover, normally we're worried about gutter loss. You know, the space in between the two pages where they meet. So like this one is a glued binding, and what they do is on the back of the issues or trades or whatever you're binding, they lay down like a layer of glue, and then they clamp them all together. And the glue is kind of like holding everything. With a sewn binding, what they do is they take the single issues, and let me see if I can actually just find. Oh, I happen to go right to the middle, so you
Perfect.
can kind of see this is right in the middle. You can see the pieces of string going through. That's binding. So that way, the thing that's happening is every issue is held together by this piece of thread that goes through and then comes out and then goes through and comes out. There is a little glue on the back to hold everything together, but the glue doesn't seep in, so that every page you can open all the way you would if you had the original single issue. So yeah.
Rimo, the Omnibus collector himself. What up, dude?
What's
Hey.
going on, guys?
What a nice
How's it going,
drop
Mike?
in by Ryley today. What's up, buddy?
Not much, just entertaining my my grandmother, and I was wanting to talk about some customs with you guys.
All right, you came at the
Nice.
right time because Mike is getting deep into it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
So yeah,
Mike.
the glued binding just means that you can't open it up 100%. It's like 90%. So like I'm sometimes doing this with my book to try to make sure I'm seeing the panels on the inside. And there's nothing, I've seen some glued binding books that like are amazing, and you can still read most of it. And depending on the book, if you've got like one of those older, like I guess some of the newer comics where they have these big splash pages, you're missing out on stuff. But a lot of times all you're missing is the space outside of the artwork anyway. I'm trying to find a good example of that. So like and the thing with sewn binding is you can only do it on like those single issues that have the that are folded pieces of paper. Like, so the Akira one, that one was that prestige format, which was already technically a glued binding. So for this one, they can't make a sewn binding of it. You have to do a glue type binding. And you can see here, even though it's done that way, you're not really missing that much. Like all you're missing in the gutter, like in this space, is white. So all the artwork is still represented there.
Yeah, I have some sewn and some glued, and I was walked through the process of when it should be used and when it's glue, when it can be used and when it shouldn't be used and stuff. And so this was Kirk Kiefer I was going through at the time, and he was getting the stuff bound by Tim Benson, who was at Houchin at the time. And Tim's now doing his own thing with, I think it's called Unbound Heroes, and we'll have him on as a guest in the future. I'm not 100% sure about the name of his business.
Omaha Bound.
Sorry?
It's Omaha Bound.
Omaha Bound. Okay, thank you. Okay, so we will have him on, but yeah, there sometimes you have to use glue. You have to use glue on some things, but it's different when you're having your own book custom done than the mass-produced glue books that get done.
Yeah.
I think what was explained to me by Kirk was they used a better quality glue, and they took more care to make sure that it was evenly layered and didn't drip down, and that it just sounds like it was a more quality glue product than what we get through mass releases.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just I mean, if you look at the photos or video, I mean, you can see it like Houchin, you can see what it's like behind the scenes, and it's a relatively small operation. I mean, when somebody's when DC is printing all those omnibus or trades or something, that's a factory. It's running through a machine, and there's only so much oversight you can do with that. Someplace like Haushin, on the other hand, they're there every step of the way, like putting the paper in, checking things out, and I feel like you get some pretty consistent results from them. And one other thing about the glue binding, like I love sewn binding, but just to geek out about binding for a second, with glue binding, it's really easy to like reorder stuff or take things out. Like I was saying, I really like having the ads in my books, but if you don't like the ads or you want to insert something in here or move stuff around, you have to use the glue binding, because the glue binding doesn't need the books to have their original spine. You can cut that up and do whatever you want. So if you wanted to do, like right now, I'm working on a DC metal, a bind for that, and I'm taking the trades and just like cutting them up and moving the stuff around, because it's like they had all of the tie-ins, but they're out of order right now. So, you know, you can really like chop up a book and make it the way you want it.
Nice.
Somebody's asking about Mike's JLA Avengers.
Oh, somebody's got some keen
off.
eyes. Yeah. So I'll show off some of my. I'll grab all of my crossover books here.
Oh, whoa! I forgot you had these.
Yeah. So as requested, here is JLA Avengers. I missed out on the absolute of this. I was like, oh, it's expensive. It's only the 4 issues. I don't need that. I needed it. So I took the issues and had those bound. And it's so nice to be able to like sit down. It's such a fun read. And Tim Benson actually helped me out on this one. So what we did is he put all of because George Perez had those awesome covers, so he'll put those in the back so I can look at those. It's just and I forget where I found this art like online somewhere, so it's got this nice wraparound cover. And yeah, that's my JLA Avengers. Never going to be printed again. Then we've got the amalgam age of comics. These are so silly and fun, and I was like, you know, I just want to sit down and read them. Oh yeah, got to remember that Batman Forever was coming out at that time. Who doesn't want to read Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I mean, that's so much fun.
I don't even know about these books.
Oh man, they're so fun and so silly. We've got X Patrol.
That's awesome.
Another crossover?
Yeah. It was this whole crossover they did where they took the characters and did mashups. So, you know, Superboy and Spider-Man, Spider-Boy.
That sounds really fun.
It was so much fun, and each only was like 1 issue long. So, you know, and they did a sequel then a year later. So they brought back, you know, you can see I put some of the covers up there. Thorion or whatever. That was one of my favorites when it came out. Iron Lantern. I mean, they're all that single issue thing. So it's like a nice, fun, quick read. Who do we have here? Generation Hex.
Oh yeah, Generation Hex. I remember. But them being single issues, what kind of mapping order did you use?
I went for publication as best as I could find.
Okay.
Like the order that they were released, I think. What order did I do? It's been a little while. Yeah, I tried to figure out, I think, what order they were released in. I mean, they were all released fairly quickly, but I tried to see if there was anything I could figure out about that and put them in that order. And it's just it's a fun book. It's fun to, like, if you know, this is like Sunday morning reads when you just need something to like have a nice fun day with. And then my big omnibus is my Marvel versus DC one. This is this uses the trade paperback collections, the crossover classics. Some of these are a little hard to find, but I figured I'm not going to sell them, so I'd rather have them in this nice book rather than just the trade paperbacks sitting on the shelf.
Joe Blair wants to see Dark Claw.
Oh
Dark
yeah.
Claw is the best to come out of Amalgam.
Oh my
What
god,
the
that
heck
was
is
so much
that?
fun.
Dark Claw's amazing.
Let me see if I can find Dark Claw. So Dark Claw was the two popular heroes at the time, Batman and Wolverine.
Oh.
They're like, let's put our best ones together. Dark Claw. What if Batman had knives?
That's the only one that I had personally.
Yeah. And then he fights, I guess it's supposed to be the Joker mashed up with Sabretooth.
Yeah, called Hyena.
Yeah. And then
in the
it's
90s?
Jubilee, Robin.
When was this?
96?
90, yeah, wow, 96. I thought it was a little earlier than that, but yeah. This is all part of the JLA Avengers stuff, Jess.
Okay.
Part of that agreement is they also made like another little, or no, I'm sorry, this is Marvel versus DC time. They did Marvel versus DC, and they did all these little mashups and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so this thing happened, and they had all those big fights, and then somewhere I think towards the end of this book, they had this thing where it was like, oh, because it was like this ridiculous story of like two cosmic brothers or something who were like fighting. One was supposed to be Marvel, one was supposed to be DC, and then all of a sudden everything gets mashed together. The brothers become one. I'm trying to see if I can find an image of the two of them. It was so mid-90s ridiculousness, and I love it. Yeah, like two brothers, and then they're like merged into one, you know, and it's craziness.
Were they recently found brothers of Havoc?
basically. And yeah, so the brothers merge, and then we get all of the amalgam stuff. And then it gets fixed at the end. I think Doctor Strange Fate fixes it.
What the Taintbrush is asking the price difference between sewn and glued. Is there much?
A very small, I think it's like an extra $4 at Haushin to upgrade from glue to sewn binding. Sewn binding they have to do some more stuff by hand than they do with the glued binding. So I'm sure when Tim Benson comes on, he'll be able to talk very specifically about that. But yeah, it's not that much more. I think the base price is like $25, and then you're paying an extra $4 for the binding.
Okay.
That's reasonable. That's doable.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
something to show us, Jess?
That's a tiny part, really, because cost is something we need to talk about. It's much cheaper to buy an omnibus from in-stock trades than it is to put together your own omnibus. This has to be a labor of love that you have the money for. So the last time I did anything bound, I think was probably 2016, 2017. So I'm sure prices have gone up, but it was like $70 a book or something for me, depending on the size of the book and how much work, stuff like that. So it can get up there. And when I made a massive order, so I remember writing a fairly large check. But yeah, this has to be something that you really want done badly enough and you can afford it.
Yeah. I mean, some of the stuff. So if you're going with like the kind of the base option, like if you go to Haushin Bindery right now and you have your books ready, you can go and get like that, the cloth type of stuff, like, you know, that it looks like it came out of a library. That's pretty cheap to do. You know, you just tell them what you want on the spine and they put it together. The added cost can then be when you are needing like a designer to come in and make the graphics for you. You know, there's some places where you can just send them your issues and they'll do the mapping for you and figure out where stuff goes. It can get expensive really quick.
Yeah, and with Kirk, I had to have him help me with the design of all my books. he would help me with, with the front and the back covers, and then the mapping. Fortunately, I had the mapping out myself, but he was also good enough that he double checked, like a couple of things I didn't have the issues for to complete it. And so it threw it back a couple weeks as I had to go to my comic shop and get Blue Beetle number 10 or whatever it was to finish the Omni. So so that was the added cost with me, because the design, mapping, putting it together, and then sending it to the bindery.
Yeah, it can get a little crazy.
So Daniel K in the chat is asking, with modern single comics or trades, and therefore often frameless comic book pages, do you lose too much artwork?
It depends. So when you are making your book, so on Solar, you can kind of see, let me see if I can frame it right. I did not have them trim the pages because I was worried about that very thing. So they just bind it, and this is 100% of everything. On the other hand, you can say, well, I want my pages to be even, and then you say trim it, and they take off about 1/16 of an inch. So yes, if you have like a lot of splash pages, you are losing a little bit of artwork, but hopefully it's not too noticeable. It all depends. But like, one of the things I love about custom bound comics is like, it's exactly the way you want it. If you want to have every little speck of that page kept there, they'll do it for you. If you want to have it clean and trim, they'll do that for you too. It's all up to you.
It's all about options.
Yeah. You do have a lot of options. My stuff came down to, first of all, I had the first thing I had done, I think, was this. I got a huge stack here. Here I am. I have a huge stack here because lots of people were telling me, everybody was telling me, that Green Lantern by Johns needed to be read alongside Green Lantern Corps. And those were books. The Green Lantern Corps books were not in omnibus form. As a matter of fact, they were all in just trade form at that time, and a lot of them were hard to find. This was one of the first nice things that ever happened to me on the Omnibus collectors page. Was I just put out something saying, can anybody help me find these Green Lantern Corps books? And a couple of people, and I'm sorry, it was back in like 2016, a couple of people just sent me all the books because they said, I've already read them, I don't need them anymore. And I got to be careful here that I don't, this is what they look like on the side, because I like making the spines form a single image.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. And it really did make a difference, because I started out with Geoff Johns Volume 1, and I had this alongside it. This is what I chose, and it came with a ribbon. And this is what I chose for the back. And so you get to choose what you want, spine, back, and front, and whether you want a table of contents, which I strongly urge everybody to get a table of contents. Don't be like DC and not have a table of contents. This is what this has. This is what's collected in it.
How about a table of contents but no page numbers? Like DC?
Right. So it starts with Green Lantern Corps Recharge, and it really, really did help a lot. It was a lot better reading experience reading Green Lantern Corps alongside Geoff Johns' Green Lantern. Now, it was a bit of a balancing act because, as you know, Green Lanterns are really big Omnis. So I had one on one leg and the other on the other leg, but I figured it out, and it was a lot of fun, and I still have to finish. I think I got halfway through volume 2 before other stuff got in the way, and I do need to finish. But this was the first one I did, and this is one that I think a lot of people really wish DC would collect. Is Green Lantern Corps. This is volume 2.
Sounds like they need to if it's such a better reading experience alongside the Green Lantern title.
I think you're right. It really does make it a different experience. It's much more enriching. A lot gets explained, and they just go together. This is the thickest one, volume 4.
Mike, you did the same thing, right? Didn't you do the Green Lantern Corps as well?
I did. I did it slightly differently. What I did was I tracked down all of the issues. I mean, sometimes what you can do is you can go on eBay and find like somebody selling, oh, I'm getting rid of all of my Green Lantern, and you can, pay like $80 and you get the whole run. So what I did is I integrated the two. So like I have the Green Lantern stuff alongside the Green Lantern Corps. So,
okay.
So you're reading a single book rather than jumping back and forth. Because I had those Omnis too, and then the same as Jess, somebody was like, "Oh, well, you're missing half the story." So then I went back and I found those and I started reading them. And I was like, "Oh, this is amazing!" And it does. He's so right. It enriches it and explains so much going back and forth. And so I made a whole series. You can see over there, it's like, right now I have 10 volumes. I've got 4 more or 5 more at Haushin right now to do the New 52 stuff. But, it's like, it's so much fun to go in and like just immerse yourself in that world and go back and forth between the two titles.
Yeah, I think it's just great. These things just look professional. Like they're on your shelves.
Yeah.
And they look like they could have just been legitimately released, hardcovers.
Well, I mean, I'm telling DC you should release them.
Yeah.
I
just mean in general with the idea of doing custom binds is, they're not subpar, janky, homemade looking, they look as good, if not better, than actual like produced releases through the companies, through DC or Marvel.
I mean, like, there's all those problems where, like, sometimes DC changes a logo or something or this or that. And, like, when you're doing it yourself, you can decide, like, look, for me, there's only one DC logo, and Milton Glaser designed it. So, like, I always use that classic, the bullet.
The bullet, yeah.
Anytime I'm doing a DC book. So, like, I don't have to deal with, like, the 50 different logos they've had in the last 10 years.
I went with whatever. Actually, they're all DC, as a matter of fact. That's funny. I just go with whatever DC logo is on the comic at the time. I think this is. I'll show you my favorite one. This is glued binding. The Green Lantern Corps. I think Green Lantern Corps was also glued. Yeah, because I can see a little bit of glue there. Because a lot of these were trades, and I think you have to glue trades. And this is Red Lantern.
Ooh,
I love your Red Lantern books.
I
remember when you got those and you showed them on the show.
Yeah, I just love Bleeze, and I love this cover image. And then I also love Supergirl as a Red Lantern. And I usually have a reason. The reason I got Brightest Day and Blackest Night turned into custom Omnis is because I had 150 issues in a long box and I didn't know what to do with them. So I said, well, maybe I'll just have them custom bound. And these don't have any ads in them because these are all the trades. Of course, before I knew number 4 was going to be worth $100, but I just like the story run. I'm one of the few that like Milligan's run. I love Sewell's run, but I like Milligan's run too. So I just love the whole idea of the Red Lanterns, and that's kind of why I wanted this one bound was just so that I could have it all in one and it would look really cool. And then I had a bunch of Greg Rucka Batwoman comics, and Keith Kirk rather said, well, you can call it an omnibus. It just means all encompassing or everything of that run. And so the Batwoman omnibus is more than just Elegy. It's everything that Greg Rucka wrote of Batwoman. So it does contain Elegy, but it contains a lot of other stuff. The other 4 or 5 issues that Greg Rucka wrote too. And of course, the greatest thing is the art, of course, in here is fantastic. Now, they're also coming out with a Batwoman omnibus in the future. And if it, in fact, see, I even had them include the question part because, well, it was integral to the story. So that's why I did.
Yeah.
But my question is going to be, I may have to double dip and get the Batwoman omnibus. So because this is taken from the comics, and it was taken from the comics, and it's stone binding, which looks a little gonky there, but it's actually okay. So the Batwoman omnibus that's going to come out, I think I'm going to get anyway because of the oversized pages. Then I had some House of Mystery trade paperbacks hanging around, and I said these would make good omnis too. And so these are definitely glued because they were trades. And I just liked the covers on these. And they also form an image and Vertigo, not Black Label.
You got full control over that, Jess.
Yes, you have control over that. So, and I liked House of Mystery. It was different and it was fun, and I thought it was well done. So. I like these. You can see this is glued, but there's not really any crucial gutter loss. Here we are at the middle of the book. You can see a little bit of gutter loss right there, but it's not enough that it puts me off. So then I got this custom bound. Because I don't know that a lot of people like this run. I don't know what people's opinion is of this overall, this run, but I loved this run. And then I was really into what came after it. This helped me. I mean, I was into comics, but this really helped me start really buying a lot of comics. And I've been going nonstop ever since. And that is Flashpoint. So there's your image.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I just dug this. I dug the story, and I dug New 52 when it first started, and lots of stuff in it was really good. I don't want this to be a New 52 discussion, but But this was a serious mapping adventure. I mean, there was a lot to get for Flashpoint, and choose the covers and things. And then the last ones. This is huge, and I know people, the general consensus is that they don't particularly care for Brightest Day. Now, this is going to be hard for me to do. I have 7 volumes of Brightest Day.
Just do it a couple at a time, Jess.
Well, they all form one image. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do it a couple times. Like this is volumes 5, 6, and 7. I didn't hate Brightest Day. I didn't think it was good as Blackest Night, but I didn't hate it. So I still had all those issues that I didn't know what to do with. And I didn't want to throw them away. And I felt like I really liked the story enough that I wanted to reread it. So I bound it just so I could keep it. And these are all sewn because they're all the issues. I like this cover a lot.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then this has Brightest Day is where we get Lex Luthor going after the Black Ring. But it's a pain for me to, and I had the Black Ring put together. Oh, they even kept in the little pop-up ad or whatever it was for brushing your teeth. I made sure that the Black Ring was kept in there in order, separately. But I also bought the Black Ring because in typical Jess Bragg fashion, there's a ton of statue figures in front of all these books. And so I don't always go to these books to read. So if I wanted to read Black Ring, I'd go to my Superman shelf. But the figures that are in front of Brightest Day and Brightest Day and Blackest Night, the figures are, I don't know, I should show them, but and this is my 5 Omnis of Blackest Night. I think I can show them all at once. The figures are like Mira and Wonder Woman in their different incarnations along the emotional spectrum, and they're holding lanterns, and they're very fragile, so I rarely move them. I could probably take the computer out and show. Wait, is this in order?
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not in order. Wait a sec. Here we go. Yeah. So there's all kinds of cool figures and pops that have to do with Blackest Night and Brightest Day. I love this cover.
Yeah, that's a beautiful cover.
Jess, are you doing the designs for these, or are you working with somebody to make the designs?
Kirk would tell me, pick a cover, pick your cover image, and also pick your back cover image. And so I would pick the image, and Kirk would make it work. He would blow it up, I guess, and that's what he would send to Houchin. So he helped design these a lot. I picked out what I wanted for the images, but he made it happen.
They look awesome. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I love this story. So this is something that I'm really happy about, that I can go to in the future and read. So I have some other things that I got from eBay, but I think we should probably let Ryley go on what he got.
Is your eBay stuff similar to my eBay stuff?
I don't know. Well, let's see. I got Moon Knight and Greg Rucka Punisher on eBay.
And these are some of the Punisher one's oversized. Is the Moon Knight oversized?
It is, yeah. Yeah, this is these are things that somebody would post in the group. So this is omnibus sized, and someone would post in the group, whose is this? What is this? Where did this come from? And you had to act fast because there was usually only one copy. And so this is all of Moon Knight by, I mean, this is pretty nice. Warren Ellis, Brian Wood, Cullen Bunn, which is a really nice run. And these are, I don't know, these are really well done. I don't know who is responsible for them, but you had to act fast. And the only way I ever found, it's not like you could, you couldn't search for them necessarily, like illegal Marvel omnibuses or something. I don't know how you would ever find them. I always relied on the group to say, what is this? And then I go, oh, it looks great. I better get it. So this is The Punisher by Greg Rucka.
I'm jealous of that one. That one I wish I had, because I don't even have the paperbacks for that run.
Oh.
I had the single issues, and I sold them years ago with the intent of buying the hardcovers or paperbacks, and I didn't move on them, and then they went out of print.
Yeah, and here's the one that lots of people, I think other people got. This is a really odd one. This is an odd one because it came with dust jackets, and it looks like a real Marvel omnibus.
Wow.
That's what I was about to show. I have
okay,
that.
You're going to show them? I'll let you show them then. Yeah, I got 4 of them. Go ahead. Yeah, let Ryley show his. I got 4 of them, and yeah.
So
really cool.
These, it looks legit. They've got dust jackets. They're nicely bound. The artwork is oversized. There are some cases in here where you can tell. I would say that the way that these are made is definitely they took digital files and blew them up to be oversized.
Oh, okay.
Because there are some places in here where you can see kind of the pixely grain on the images.
Okay.
I'm not finding a good spot like that. They definitely did a good job in arranging this stuff, and it even has some of the bonus material from the paperbacks is thrown in at the end. So sketches and whatnot that appeared in those are in the back here. And I've had these for a little while. I think a couple of years now. I got them a while ago, and so they keep up pretty well. I think they're glued binding, but they're glued in a way that the spine actually bends pretty well, because you can kind of see a little bit of
eye hole.
Yeah, it's got a nice eye hole, but you can kind of see some glue on that as well. So it's a little bit different, because you can see there's not the, like, when you look at like stitched binding, it has the magazines on there. Where you can see each one is stitched together. And now it was a 4-volume set. And so all 4 volumes, the image lines up like Jess was kind of showing, and it's made with, the same type of,
that back page is so cool that they did it like that.
The same way that you would get on the official ones. These are so just meticulously made. I don't know how much time, how much effort, how much love went into this to make these. But it covers the entirety of Peter David's run that started after House of M, with the X Factor investigations. I think one of mine, I don't remember which volume, but one of them, the binding is coming a little bit loose, but it's not so much that I'm concerned about it. But
Crazy Jane says, does it have an introduction from Omar? That would be awesome.
But there's no barcodes or anything. So I know some people make fake barcodes. Like I've seen the ones that say like Omnibro or something on the side. It collects all the way to the end of that run. It doesn't collect. They didn't do all new X Factor, so they didn't collect the direct follow up that he did during the all new Marvel Now.
These are books that I lost in the flood. All the original X Factor books, which were hard to find. So I was happy to find these on eBay.
I don't know which other, because I have seen a lot of those pop up. Excuse me, as I'm trying to reach for something else. I've seen a lot of them pop up, but I've only gone after the X ones. I had to limit myself. I had to tell myself, like, if you're going to get these, because they go for high prices, you got to stick to what you like. And my favorite, obviously, is X-Men. So I also got this is, I don't know if Jess has this one. This is Uncanny X-Men by Chris Claremont. And this is the run that he had following, what is this, right before Ed Brubaker?
Oh, okay.
So this is his newest run. So this collects a bunch of nice material with artwork by like Chris Bacalo and stuff like that.
Now, has that stuff not been collected?
It's been collected in paperback, and I think they're re-releasing it in paperback presently.
Okay.
But it has not been ever collected in oversized edition. I think except for the House of M tie-in story arc. That might be oversized in the pages of one of the House of M hardcovers. This also, I like they added table of contents.
Oh, nice.
With like information of every chapter.
That's awesome. That's
so
really neat.
Yeah, there's so much care and effort put into these, and it's multiple pages of the pages of contents, but they give like the publication date, the writer, the artist, inker, all the different information for every issue.
I don't know enough to answer this question, but maybe you do. BB wants to know, yes, exactly. What paperweight and glossiness are the Omnis printed with that we found on eBay? Do you know?
I don't know the individual about weight and stuff, but I would say that the weight of the paper is more similar to older Marvel Omnibus rather than newer ones. Here's another X set that I got. This is X-Men Legacy by Mike Carey.
Oh, I have all those in little skinny hardcovers, right?
Yeah, they did a lot of hardcovers for that run. So this first volume collects his X-Men before it became Legacy, and then it goes into Legacy. And then the second of the two volumes, and these also have dust jackets, has the latter half of that run by Mike Carey. It doesn't collect the later.
That cover is boss.
Yeah, those are beautiful, man. Look
Let's
at
see
that
the
back cover.
cover again, the front cover.
Yeah, that's nice.
That is really cool.
And I'd like to assume that they're all made by the same person or people because they have similar style between them. The table of contents is a little bit different on this one than on that Claremont one, but the next one, I think these other ones have similar style as far as the table of contents go, and that's the Uncanny X-Men by Matt Fraction Volume 1. And this doesn't have a dust jacket, but the way that the inside is designed.
Paperback right now, right?
Yeah, those are, well, a lot of his stuff is in like individual oversized hardcovers, but you can see this table of contents is similar to the one that's on that other. So I think that they're definitely the same people designing these, whoever put them together.
So you like, of course, you're the Omnibus collectors. So even though they were already available in paperback, you wanted them in omnibus form.
Yeah, when I saw that there was these special editions out there, someone put together, I was like, yeah, I got to get these. But there was never, at least I never found a second volume to Matt Fraction. There's one for Kieran Gillen. But there's a chunk of material between the two volumes that's missing. And I had to keep my hardcovers. Luckily, there are oversized hardcovers that collect all of that material, so I just have these sitting between them. And I figure one day maybe I can get these three bound into my own custom bound second volume.
Give me the books you just held out. You were not able to find these?
So this Uncanny X-Men by Matt Fraction Volume 1, this custom bound one.
Yeah.
This collects issues. I think it starts with like some of the Ed Brubaker. Yeah, it starts at 487 and it goes through 512. And then after that is the Utopia crossover with the Dark X-Men. and that has issues 513 and 514 as well as a bunch of other material. And then continuing from there was Nation X, which has 515 through 522. And then after that comes the Second Coming crossover. So
okay.
There's also a tie-in hardcover Second Coming Revelations that I don't have that I should probably get. But so I figure one day if I wanted, I could just bind these guys together into something to fit on the shelves between, because otherwise I've got, the first part of Gillen's or Fraction stuff, and then I have Gillen here, and this one collects 526 through issue 10 of his next series. So it goes all the way up to the material that's in the AVX crossovers book. So these are the only customs that I have. I don't have anything that I've actually bound myself. They're just books that I found on eBay. But man, they're beautiful. I haven't really found a lot of those popping up recently, or seen people talking about them as much, but yeah, I would love to see there's a lot more of the X-Men ones that I would love to see done. Runs that I don't know that they're ever going to actually put out into legitimate omnibus or not. Like I would love to see like Milligan's run to go next to some of these, but they're definitely, I don't want to say one of a kind, but they're few and far between. They don't pop up all the time. They're beautiful.
Somebody's doing them, it's like the dark web. It's like, how do you find out about them? We just sort of lucked into those, and I can't. If I wanted something else, like I don't even know. I'm trying to think of something that needs to be completed. That's not. If I wanted any other X-Men book, how would I even search for it?
Right.
Oversized, custom bound Marvel X-Men. We just lucked into those, and I can't remember how much they were. I seem to recall they were pricey.
Yeah, generally they are. They go for pretty decent amount. I know there was a couple of others that popped up. A lot of people bought copies of, I think it was the new X-Men, like the Academy X stuff.
Oh, okay.
But there was issues because I remember like people in the group, they were like, they got it, but then they're like, oh, some of this stuff is out of order. And it was almost unreadable. So I don't know what happens there, but yeah, it's a big question mark, but it's a question mark that I'm happy to have been able to get for my collection, I'll say.
Well, and of course that's a big problem. You get a bind off of eBay, and it's not in the proper order. You're stuck with it. You've spent $125 or whatever on a book that's unreadable. Yikes.
Well, I gotta go right now. We're about to go out to lunch, but I wanted to pop in and talk about some stuff. So I hope y'all have a good rest of your Sundays.
All right, thanks for showing up,
gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So someone's asking, is there somewhere I could custom bind my OHC Ultimate Spider-Mans?
Oh, you want to put
Oh, that's what somebody's asking. Yeah.
Do you want to put those together? That's interesting.
I would love to see that happen. I mean, I don't want to do it with mine, but I want to see somebody else do it.
Yeah. I don't want to touch mine.
Well, it's considering some of those are so expensive. It's going to be,
Yeah, that's always the thing. It's like, when you get stuff custom bound, it's always that gamble like, oh, is this stuff going to become expensive at some point? Is it, going to be printed officially soon? I definitely have done Omni, like my own custom Omnis. And then like 5 months later, I see, oh, Marvel's putting that exact thing out that I never thought they would release. But yeah. To answer the question, though, I mean, like, House and Bindery will do it. You want to get Tim Benson on that, you can do Omaha Bound. Herring and Robinson, I know a lot of people love. I haven't worked with them, though.
Yeah, so that should answer your question, Michael Lou 1019. pretty much any of the binderies that Mike just said will do that for you.
Yeah.
I'm super jealous of those X Factors because that's one of the top Omnis on my list of most wanted Omnis is that Peter David. Just Peter David, almost anything needs to be into an omnibus, but especially that X Factor stuff. And
Yeah, I lost all the X Factor paperbacks, all the New Mutant classic paperbacks. I'm thinking of the bottom shelf of stuff I lost and have tried during that flood of 2017. And so I was so happy to find not only could I get the X Factors back, because some of those were hard to find, those teeny little thin trade paperbacks. So I was happy, and Ryley reminded me now I got to get the rest of the run, because I definitely don't have the rest of that X Factor run. I do have Totally Awesome Hulk, but I don't have the rest of that run. And the New Mutants books were really hard to find. So I'm really, that was classic New Mutants paperbacks. And I think Omar said that a big chunk of those are going to be covered in the New Mutants Omni that's coming out. So I'm very happy about that.
what are your guys' dream custom bind projects? Money being no object.
Money being no object.
I mean, I'm working on one right now that's kind of a dream one, and it's a dream because like I can do part of it, but I can't do the whole thing. I love the custom binds of stuff that have not been bound. So right now I'm working on like a more complete set of Spawn books because I can't get those books or Savage Dragon, like these kinds of things where you get the whole run with all of the issues, all of the tie-ins and stuff. But the like both of those have parts of the run that are really hard to find or expensive, and makes me question whether or not I should bind a expensive comic book.
Well, and Eric Larson's already said he's not interested in putting out collections of Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
He has no interest in it. I mean, that was one of the first things we asked him when we interviewed him, 3 years ago, Gabe?
Yeah, he said he wasn't interested, and I think there was something to do with the files involved with it too, so he wouldn't be able to even if he wanted to, or something like that. So
yeah, I think he'd have to have them recolored or something like that. But yeah, like that stuff that, I mean, there's a lot of books out there that don't have good collections available for them. And those are the ones that I think are fun to like track down and put together. Like having Savage Dragon collected all of the, what are they up to now? 250. They just hit, you know, that's, it's fun to be able to sit with a big run like that. But it's hard to it's hard to find any other way.
Yeah, I would do books that will probably never get omniized or collected or anything like that. That's why I like Mike's amalgam so much, because that's never going to happen. There's no way that those two companies will ever come to any kind of agreement in terms and make that happen again. But in the same vein like that, I would like to see like ROM Space Knight. That would be awesome, because that'll never get reprinted.
Micronauts.
Marvel's. Yeah, that was the next word out of my mouth, was Micronauts.
I knew it, because ROM and Micronauts is what everybody's dream is. Yeah. Because they say it'll never happen.
Godzilla, Marvel's Godzilla stuff from the Bronze Age. Things like that. But yeah, like Savage Dragon, Spawn, because there's controversy, not controversy, but there's lawsuits against some of those issues, so they could probably never be reprinted again anyways, because of Neil.
Really?
Comic Bar and stuff. Yeah, the Angel or the Angela stuff.
Oh, the Neil Gaiman stuff?
Yeah, the Neil Gaiman stuff, I don't think they can ever reprint again, I guess. I know there's versions out there that have it, and there's versions out there that skip those issues. So, all the Mike already has it, but all the like Jim Lee Wildcat stuff, who knows if that's ever going to get reprinted again, because of the how it works with Marvel and or how it works with DC, now having all the Jim Lee Wildcat stuff, things like that. It's the stuff I'd be after. Like, I love those X Factors, but I'm holding out that it's going to happen one day for real.
Yeah.
I'm holding out for it.
The stuff that I would get, because I know there's no way DC's going to do it, because I'm the only one interested, is Sugar and Spike. I'd like all the Sugar and Spikes because I loved those. They did put out a DC Archives of Sugar and Spike, which was a bone to throw me, which I liked. They also threw me a bone with DC Archive Lois Lane. I'd love Omnis of all of Kurt Schaffenberger's Lois Lane, and the wacky adventures of Superman's pal, Jimmy Olsen. I would love those. Those would mean so much to me from a nostalgia standpoint. But to put those together, single issues, it would be too expensive. Now, even though everybody sort of turns up their nose at Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen, if I'm trying to get early 60s stuff, and it doesn't have to be in good condition because you're binding it, it's still going to be real money to put together 100 issues of one of those runs.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that first issue of Lois Lane is a pricey book, no matter what condition it's in.
Right.
Yeah.
And do you really want to bind something like that?
I've seen stuff. I've seen people buy binds and then take the books out and still like get them graded.
Oh, really?
Like, I've seen a Superboy #1 that was CGC, but it was, it was restored because it was all trimmed up on the edges. But that was still an expensive book, even graded and coming out of a binding.
Wow.
Somebody bound Superboy 1?
Yeah, well, it had been like a whole, a big chunk of Superboy. The guy must have made his own custom hardcover or something.
Wow.
Cross-gen books, yeah, I said last week, yeah, that's the great stuff. That's stuff you'll probably never see get reprinted again. Last week I talked about I would love to do like an Ultraverse custom bind kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we talked earlier about Pitt. Those early like 90s like Image stuff, like extreme stuff. Those things like that you never see. That was so popular, but just nobody really seems to care enough to make a hardcover out of it, which is crazy.
I'm assuming too, it's like some of what like Eric Larson was saying about the like losing, not having high res files from back in the day. I mean, that's 30 years ago. Maybe a little less for some of the books, but I'm assuming some of that wasn't archived properly. Like, so the only way to like I love having that original experience of like, this is the coloring, these are the ads.
Mm-hmm.
So some of that stuff is a lot of fun to go and revisit.
Yeah, that's cool too, because you don't have to worry about them doing like any kind of corrections, that the mistakes be in there with some of the maybe misspellings or miswording of things, or changing up the color, things like that. So, and then I just love the paper quality of those old books too, of like the 90s books too.
For sure.
Cool.
Do we have some viewer shelfies of custom books?
We got a lot, and we're about an hour and a half in. So,
well, let's try and do 10 minutes or something of them at least.
All right, let's pull some out real fast. Yeah. So thanks to everybody who sent us custom or send us pictures of your guys' custom bounds. We got some great stuff here. I'm gonna start out with Tim Burnham. Good old Tim Burnham. Awesome. This guy is like the Daredevil like master. Yeah. And whenever any of us have Daredevil questions or Daredevil like, hey, what's next for this Daredevil issue or this run, Tim Burnham is the man that we have to ask. And he sent us links to his Instagram. So I'm going to share that. Everybody can follow Tim on his Instagram. Where am I on here? So Tim says that here are a few customs that I have. I did all the prep design work myself. Houch and Boundary, bound the Rucka Punisher, and then the Senti DD volumes. Heroes Reborn bound the Soul DD volumes. Let me know if you guys have any questions about any of these. So this is his and the Senti John Romita Jr.
Oh,
two volume set. that he has. Here's the spines.
Really
nice. Now I see what you mean. I'm jealous. I do want that Ann Nocenti run.
man.
Those are nice.
Even has his own custom barcode, which is cool. It says Nerd in the Nook 2020.
Nice.
Yeah, that is cool. That's a good touch. I know Ryley mentioned
That
something
is.
about that too, but now I see what he's talking about. That's great.
That is a good touch.
That is good. So let me get some more up here, because he sent some good pictures of his stuff for sure. I'm just gonna do it like this.
To answer Hooney versus question about Savage Dragon, I also got the feeling from Eric Larson when talking to him that he just didn't want to do it. I think he just sounded like too much work to him, and he just wasn't.
And that might
up.
be it too. You know, for those creator-owned stuff, you kind of got to do it all yourself. You know?
Yeah, and it sounded like he just wasn't up for it. I think he said all I want to do is draw, and he didn't want to. That's all he ever wants to do is draw, and he's not interested in anything else. So,
Unfortunately,
well, he's an illustrator, so that's that's kind of the attitude you got to have, I guess. and I kind of admire that all he wants to do is draw, and that is a cool cover.
that's amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
He has all the information on his Instagram too.
Yeah, so this is volume 1, collects Daredevil 236 to 235 and Punisher number 10. It's a great table of contents. Of course, you got to have that red ribbon if you're going to do any kind of
Yeah, the ribbon's such a great touch.
So that's cool there. What else did he send us? And then here is the close-ups of volume 2, which is 266 to 291. Some material from Daredevil 500, Daredevil Black and White 1, and Typhoid 1 through 4.
Boy, that's some mapping work.
Yeah. It's a labor of love. I mean, this guy is definitely
Oh
the
yeah,
Daredevil expert. So
it's totally fun for Tim.
I'm
It's not
sure.
work at all.
And
That's
then there
another
is
great
something
cover.
so satisfying about like when you get it back after all of that work,
Yeah,
and you're like, it's here. It's the way I want it, exactly the way I want it, with everything that I wanted to make sure was in there.
That's an awesome image
Oh,
here.
that's gorgeous.
Daredevil with the Ultron.
I also love that era of Ramita Jr.'s artwork.
Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
And that's that for that one. And then he also sent us, here's the Charles Soule stuff.
Oh, he had that
Mm.
bound? Smart.
Yeah. Look how awesome that is.
Oh, I'm wicked stoked that these turned out so well, he says.
Yeah. Man, that's gorgeous.
Oh, that is a good idea to have those trades custom bound.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've already bought them, so that should mean we're getting hardcovers since I bought the trades.
That's usually how that works.
Yeah.
It's always.
So I might wait before I bind these. The oversized hardcovers are just around the corner.
I bound the JLA The Nail like a year or two ago, and I was like, they're never gonna reprint this. I have these books, I love them. I'll just get them bound. And then like right as I got the books back, they announced the oversized hardcover.
Here's the other volume for Charles Soule's.
Oh, what a good cover he chose.
Yeah.
And what's great about this is that you get to choose exactly like the cover that you think is the best. Like this is all your design and your work, and you get to be a part of the creative process.
Yeah.
Got the leather pages in there too.
That's how you do.
You got the French folds on the dust jacket information too. All awesome stuff. And then I know you guys had that Greg Rucka Punisher, but I wonder what his looks like. That's cool. He does the dust jackets and
and they look like Marvel Omnis.
yeah. These are I mean, I don't know if these are oversized or not. I can't tell. But
Yeah.
you put this on the shelf, you'd be like, yeah, that seems legit. That seems like it's, it fits right on your Punisher shelf for sure.
Yeah. Those are good looking.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice.
Wow. One thing I haven't tried yet, and I'm curious if you guys have done or any of the people, is like I haven't taken OHCs and had them bound together yet. I've done like standard size trades, obviously single issues, but I haven't tried to do an OHC bound up together as an Omni.
I haven't tried that either.
That's what somebody was talking about earlier, right? They wanted to do the OHCs of their Ultimate Spider-Man run into an Omni.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which in theory should be
fine. Time for one more Shelfie?
Yeah, we can do one more. I guess we'll just continue these Shelfies maybe next week as well. But
okay.
Here is one of the ones where I was like, dude, this is so awesome and pretty super jealous of it. This is Elwyn Monsley who sent this to us, and let me get the screen share going for this first. This is cool stuff too.
While we're waiting, never mind. I was just gonna talk about in stock trades, but we'll do it right after this.
Ooh, I like this.
So he has he's an Essential Bane custom that he did.
I love that like cover page with Bane.
Yeah. And then he also was able to get some really cool sketches in there, which is cool. So he made the custom hardcover and I guess added some blank pages for the idea of getting sketches, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, if you are at a convention and you bring a custom hardcover to any creator, they flip out over it.
Is that right?
They'll draw in it right away. I did that with Kevin Eastman. I got what was that, Melting Pot? I got that bound, and when he saw it, he was like, "Oh my god!" And he starts drawing in it. Jeff Darrow, I had some of the Shaolin Cowboy. He flipped out over that. They're always excited to see custom binds.
Ah.
I love the spine that he did on here. Look at that with Bane holding Batman. You're ready to throw him off the top of that building. Yeah.
I mean, the whole design on this. I love that dust jacket.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's such a like a simple looking like front cover design, but it's awesome. It's just that close up on the mask, that one mask guy with Batman in it. That's so cool.
Yeah.
This is the second volume, I guess. Yeah, of Essential Bane. Oh, so I see what he did, because you could do like you did the two eyes. You could put those things side by side, and it makes creative. See, that's it. This is only as far as your imagination can go. Look at, you got a great Kevin Nolan Bane sketch in it too.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So I think that would have to be a must if I did anything like this. Is a couple blank pages that are like nice paper, stock quality that can get a sketch done on it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any copyright issue because none of us are selling any of them.
Right. You can do, this is your own stuff. Yeah, you're making it with your own stuff. You're not selling it. You're not doing anything like that to it.
Yeah. So I think we can do whatever we want designing our own projects.
Yeah, as long as you're not mass producing these or anything like that, then that's fine.
I highly doubt
this is awesome.
Marvel and DC give a shit about us.
I mean, just in general, but also specifically about this.
Right. We're not even on their radar for these things.
These last couple images aren't loading. Oh, there we go. Sleepwalker. That's awesome.
That's a good one.
Oh, I remember that story.
Sleepwalker was a fun book.
You got the ads. Like, look at this Prince of Persia Super Nintendo game ad. That's awesome. Yeah. So shout out. Thank you very much to Ellen for sending us this. Oh, look, I can blow it up.
Okay, and if you didn't see yours, we are just going to continue next week to keep doing custom bound shelfies. Since a lot of people responded, we'll just keep showing them.
Yeah, that was 2. I think we have like another 8 more people who sent it in.
Great.
Sorry, I would love to have gotten to everybody today, but we're already at over an hour and a half. So
yeah, and I need to talk about InStockTrades.com, where you can get your collected editions that you haven't made yourself. These are things that you buy off the shelf at InStockTrades.com. You can get them up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add another 2% to that. Tomorrow night, Monday at 8 o'clock, not at 8 o'clock, but the 8 o'clock show, we're going to be giving away a $50 in-stock trade gift card to a lucky viewer. So be sure and tune into the 8 o'clock show tomorrow night. $50 or more in a order, that gets you free shipping, which really paid off these past couple of Omnigeddon weeks when you're buying 3 or 4 Omnis. Free shipping, that saved you $20 to $50 is what it did. And there's fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com.
all right. All right, Jess, where can everybody find you online who wish to follow you and your root beer pouring over books that you don't like that have a lot of naughty stuff in it?
You can find me on Omnidog's Vault on YouTube. I just put out this morning a video on DC young adult books that are fantastic that you need to read, such books as Superman Smashes the Klan and Mira. There's a book on Mira, and that was fantastic. You really need to read these books. Don't turn your nose up at them because they say young adult, because they are great. They are some of the most fun books out there. So that's the one that I just turned in, and I'm going to upload a video Monday? That's tomorrow, on good fantasy graphic novels. And you can also find me on Omnidogs_vault on Instagram.
All right. And Mike?
You can find me YouTube, the Comic Archive. I got a bunch of videos about custom binding if you want to find out more about that. The Comic Archive on Twitter and Facebook. And if you want to check out my Kickstarter right now for my comic No Going Back, you can find that at you can either search for it or nogoingbackthecomic.com will send you over to Kickstarter and you can check it out.
Oh, you are really close.
I'm getting closer. Oh, somebody in the last hour and a half. I got another backer.
Nice. Everybody keep going. Let's put this thing over the top. I want that pin.
Let's make it happen. Link is in the chat, and everybody else, the link will be in the description as well to Mike's Kickstarter. And everybody, you can find me, Gabe Loves 90s Comics on Instagram. And then, or of course, you can find me here on Omnibros Live Sundays and Mondays. So tomorrow's going to be great. Hauls, reads, previews for the week. And like Jess was saying, the In-Stock Trades $50 gift card giveaway. Now, Jess, remember to come up with a good trivia question or however you're going to do it this week.
I was already told by somebody that they didn't think that was fair to new viewers.
Oh, okay.
So I think I'll have to do random number generator again.
That's fair. That's fair enough, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. And with that said, we'll see everybody tomorrow.